"Sign it, Brent. Just sign the papers, and let's be done." Those were the words my wife said to me on Valentine's Day, not screamed, not whispered in tears, but delivered with the flat, practiced calm of someone who had been rehearsing that sentence for a very long time. My name is Brent Sucris. I built my logistics company from a rented garage at 22 years old, $40 of printer ink, and a promise I made to myself. The Tuesday my father's coat disappeared from the hook by the door and never came back. I drove used trucks for a decade while my business quietly grew into something worth $4.7 million, something I never announced, never performed, because I had learned once, painfully, that money rearranges people's faces. I wanted someone who would see me before they saw any of that. I thought Ella was her. I ironed my shirt that morning. I checked the reservation twice. In my jacket's inner pocket sat a velvet box, a bracelet engraved with her own words from our first date, the coordinates of the coffee shop where she'd looked at me and said, "I think you might be the realest person I've ever met." I was holding that against my chest when she slid the envelope across the table and said, "Sign it. Please, before I continue, kindly support my channel by sharing, and subscribe for more interesting stories." I stared at the envelope for 3 full seconds before I opened it. The restaurant kept moving around me. Silverware clinking, a couple laughing 2 tables over, a waiter reciting the dessert special like the world hadn't just tilted. I read page 1, page 2, page 3, then page 4, and something in the legal language there made my jaw shift. Just barely, the way a man's face moves when he's suddenly doing arithmetic he wasn't prepared for. I closed the envelope. I looked at her. I said very quietly, "How long?" She said, "Long enough." Then her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it and flipped it over, but not before I saw the screen. A text from a contact saved as Mom, and the message read, "Did he sign?" Not, "How is she holding up?" Not, "Is she okay?" Did he sign? I sat with that for a moment, the bracelet pressed against my chest from inside my jacket pocket. I reached up, just once, and touched it through the fabric. Then I folded my hands on the table and said nothing, because I had just understood that I was not sitting inside a marriage falling apart. I was sitting inside a plan. She had 4 extra cars in the driveway when we got home. I recognized every one of them before I even cut the engine. Douglas's silver sedan, Vivian's white SUV, Garrett's car, Garrett, who had borrowed $40,000 from me 2 years ago and had never once used the word repayment. And Raina's red car parked closest to the door, like she'd positioned it for a quick exit. I sat behind the wheel for a moment after Ella got out. She didn't look back. I went inside. They were all in my living room. Douglas by the fireplace with a drink already in hand, Vivian on the couch with her legs crossed, Garrett leaning in the doorframe with his arms folded. When they saw Ella's face, the composure of a woman who had just done what she came to do. Douglas started clapping. Slow, deliberate, theatrical. Vivian joined, then Garrett. Raina just smiled, small and private, like a woman watching something she had written come to life on stage. I stood at the threshold of my own living room. I looked at all of them. Then I walked down the hall, closed my office door quietly, and called Theo. "Don't bring Wallace, bring his partner." Before I left that night, I went to the kitchen. I opened the refrigerator out of habit, not hunger, stood in the cold light of it for a moment, then closed it. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the velvet box. I opened it one last time. The bracelet, the coordinates, her words in small clean letters. I had practiced what I would say when I slid it onto her wrist. Not a speech. Just, "I still choose you, every day." I closed the box. I set it on the kitchen counter. I didn't leave a note because I wasn't trying to make her feel anything. I just couldn't take it back to the jeweler. It was the truest thing about me and someone needed to see it, even accidentally, even tomorrow morning. I picked up my keys and the overnight bag I'd had half packed since Theo's warning 6 months ago. The warning I'd smiled off, but never fully unpacked. I walked to the front door. From the living room came the soft sound of wine being poured and someone laughing. I stepped outside. Just before the door clicked shut, I heard Douglas say, "He'll come back. They always come back." I got in my car and drove. Theo and I sat in a conference room at 11:47 p.m. on Valentine's Day with a corporate litigation attorney named Adrian Sokol, who owed Theo a favor and had agreed to come in after hours. Adrian read through the divorce papers the way a man reads code, slowly, looking for what hides behind what's visible. He turned to page 4. He read one specific clause out loud. When he finished, Theo exhaled slowly through his nose and said, "Brent, this wasn't written by a wife. This was written by a plan." The clause argued that Ella's domestic and emotional labor constituted financial contribution to my company's growth. A creative argument with no legal precedent, but aggressive enough to tie the business in litigation for 2 years if I signed and later contested it. The strategy was never to win the clause in court. The strategy was to use my signature as leverage, force a settlement where I bought out the claim for whatever number Douglas had decided my company was worth. Adrian put the papers down. "Who drafted this?" I thought about Ella's mother texting before we'd left the restaurant. I thought about Douglas asking Theo 45 minutes of surgical questions at a company dinner. "Her father's lawyer," I said. "Wallace Drummond." Adrian nodded. "I know his signature language." I said, "Good, because I know something about Wallace that I never thought I'd have to use." Ella woke up the next morning in a house that felt like every piece of furniture had been rearranged overnight. Technically the same rooms, technically the same house, but wrong in every corner. Brent's side of the bed was untouched. She lay there waiting to feel lighter, because Raina had promised her lighter. Once you do it, you'll feel like you can breathe. She didn't feel lighter. She went to the kitchen and